Hello, everybody. Day number 4 is here.
Welcome back. I can't believe how many of you have made it through all 4 days and are still here
Yep,
with us. So impressive. Very impressed, honestly.
yep.
Says
Pouring
so
in
much.
still right now. A lot of
Yeah.
people coming.
Yeah,
Love
definitely.
it. Welcome to everyone on YouTube out there. Day
And
number 4.
and everyone watching on the replay, you still will have
Exactly.
24 hours after we're done here today to watch this one. So hope you all get a chance.
Yep, it'll go till tomorrow. I think they said 11:30 a.m. Pacific time.
Great.
So
Got it. Very specific.
they're very specific that it'll be available for you all to watch if you miss anything. For everyone in VIP, you get it for 30 days, so you don't need to worry. So it's going to be a fun day, and hopefully, how many of you made it all 4 days? At least some part of all 4 days.
Yes, let us know in the chat
But
or by thumbs up. There's the thumbs ups. We love them. Yes, all
yeah.
four. Good job. Good job,
Yay,
everyone.
love to see it in the chat, in the
Yep.
comments. Get them going.
Yep. It's a commitment to make it all 4 days for real. So
Yeah,
we are very impressed for all of you. Thank you.
exactly.
Yeah.
I see we get lots and lots of people watching the replay too, like
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of you. So
So
thank you
amazing.
for everyone watching the replay.
Yes.
And we'll wait a few minutes, just as a minute, just to let everyone
Yep.
get here before we get started. But we're
Yeah.
going to get started today by kind of giving you some inspiration of people that have actually finished their book and won a contest, either from a writer's workshop event like this, or a live event, or from our membership. So we have two memberships, the Hay House Writers Community and Authorpreneur, and we're going to tell you about those today. And
Yes.
basically, the goal of those memberships is to help you write your book in a year, help you get it done, get it out. And we have extra contests for you. So you've heard us talk about the VIP contest, but in the membership, there's two additional contests for each of you. And we'll give you all those details in a little bit, but people have been asking, you keep mentioning the
Yeah.
membership. So I just wanted to
Yep.
let you know that as of today, you can sign up. We only let you sign up for the membership a couple times a year. Last year, we did it 3 times, so it'll be 3 or less times this
Yep.
year. Most likely, we'll do it 3 times, but we'll see. And we want you all to kind of join at once, and then people hopefully they get their book done in a year. But we have people that stay for years and years and have done multiple books. Lots
Yep.
of people have done multiple books, but we set it up so that you'll be able to do it in 1 year, finish your book. And so we'll talk. We'll give you the link. It's and everything in a second. Well, I'll just tell you the link now, but we'll present it. It's hayhouse.com/. Join.
Join. Yep.
So any of you will have that. It's in the chat for those of you looking there. But today we're going to start off, like I said, with some people who've won the contest, one of the contests of the different ones that we've done. And we have like 3 stories just to kind of get you motivated before we get moving along today. To see people that done it just like you. I know some of you have written a book already, but for those of you looking for further motivation to get it done, that's what our goal is to keep writing, as Kelly said, most days of the week and get that book done. So
That's right.
our first video is by Alicia Doss, and she's actually a member of our Authorpreneur membership. But she applied. I mean, she submitted her proposal once. She got feedback, and then she did all the feedback, and then won the contest again. So let's get started with Alicia. Hi, Alicia. Good to see you.
Always good to
We
see you, Reed.
Today, Kelly and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how you got started on your publishing journey, what you've gone through, and to get that all started, we just like a little background, like of maybe what you were up to, why you decided you wanted to write a book.
Well, the idea came to me recently, about 30 years ago. And Reed, I had such a strong calling to write a book. And then as the decades went on and doing my work and working with thousands of people and honing my craft, then it was like, how do I put decades into a book, right? And so I kept writing iterations of it, and I just wasn't finishing it because when you know you're born to write a book, it's confrontive, it's daunting, it's overwhelming. And so I kept leading workshops and speaking, and people kept saying, "Where's the book?" And then I joined the writers community, and I went to this beautiful live conference in Las Vegas. I met all of you there. It was just wonderful. And so I wrote a proposal. I submitted it to the contest, and I did not win. And another book on angels won. And I'm like, oh. And then I was incredibly attuned and wise, and I let that stop me for 5 years. Don't be me. Don't be me. And then you announced Authorpreneur. I went, that's me. I have an established business. I have established acumen. I'm an expert in my field. This is me. This is it. And I submitted and I won. And I got that beautiful call. When I got that call from Reed telling me that I won, it was like God, I don't mean to be corny, but it was like God putting a rope ladder down from the heavens saying, grab on now, girl. And I grabbed on with everything. The deadline is huge. The support is huge. I got the proposal. I didn't wait to see if I won the contest or not. I started sending it to agents. And I kept hearing from the angels as I papered my wall with rejection slips. We have your publisher. And in the same day, Reed called me and said I'd won the contest.
Well, I think one of the things that I love about your story right there is that you submitted once and you didn't win. And then you came back around and you submitted again and you won. That is something that we want everyone to understand. These things are not linear. And that is whether you're submitting to the contest or you're looking for an agent or you're putting your book out for the publishers. So what was it? I know you said you took a 5-year hiatus, but what gave you the courage and confidence to resubmit?
Authorpreneur. It was a fit for me. It was a total hand in glove fit. It was a fit. It was also time. It was just, I think the stars aligned. Sometimes, like I said, I've been doing my craft forever. I had a successful podcast by then, but it was time. I didn't write the book I wanted to write. Even with Hay House, I wrote the book I was born to write. I have to tell you something about working with Hay House. Early on in the process of writing the book, I sent it to my wonderful editor at Hay House, who was Anna at the time. And I said, 30 years, I don't know how to write a beginning book. And so I sent her the most advanced, esoteric, deep, throw people in the deep end chapter. And I said, do I need to pull it back? Do I need to make it more accessible? She said to me, we know what we signed up for. We bought your book. Don't change a word. That's Hay House. And I've become friends with a lot of the authors, and I hear the same thing. They're not trying to get you to write the book they want. They're trying to get you to write the book you were born to write.
And what is the topics? Tell a little bit about your where you came from, what you're doing. Like you mentioned a little bit about the angels and all that, but what is the area that you're writing and what's the name of the book you wrote?
So the book I wrote is Your Angelic Ancestry. And it's really the first of its kind. It's kind of an ancestry.com for the angelic realm where readers discover through a process I honed over 30 years with thousands of people, readers discover their archangelic name, heritage, and their higher purpose. So it's really, Reed, it's about connecting to our celestial heritage and bringing it forward into this life so that we can, and readers really do, my students over many decades manifest more of the qualities we all associate with angels: greater loving, spiritual attunement, intimacy with the divine, being a messenger of God themselves, because angel means messenger of God. So it's really approaching the angelic from right within our own soul, which is a much more direct approach. So then it's easy to connect to the highest archangels, and it becomes easy to connect to spirit, to God, to the universe, as clearly as you see my image on the screen.
And how'd you get started? Like, what'd you do? You just woke up one day and did this? You said you've been doing it for a long time. So, like, how did you connect with the angels? How did you get clients? What did you do to do all that?
Well, and I do want to put another plug in to Authorpreneur, because it's not only a guidance on how to write the book, how to publish, how to build your platform, but how to build your business. So a lot of it I have built before I got there, but then I also learned how to put more of a foundation, roots under my wings, if you will, through AP. I have been communing with angels since I was 4 years old. I had some very traumatic events occur that would have broken many people. And I started speaking to these beings of light in their own language. Didn't know that's what it was at the time, but it kept me whole. And then fast forward through my life, I started working with people, sharing what I got from that language. It helped me read the higher records, past lives, auras, chakras. I started working with people. I started doing groups. I started speaking. And it was really, you always say in Authorpreneur, start before you're ready. Like, just start, get the feedback, see what sticks. Don't get it perfect. You're not going to. And so I just started leading classes, terrified, doing bigger and bigger speaking gigs and sharing these out there concepts that I had vetted with myself and my students, and saw the sea of nodding heads. And that gave me the courage to keep going forward.
Jillian Abbey, let's have her bring her up here so we can see
Great.
her.
There she is.
There she
Hi,
is, and I
Jillian.
love it. She has her book back there.
Yeah,
I
little book
do. I
poster.
know.
I love that. That's good. You
Amazing.
learn about all
Yeah.
this, letting people know about your book, Jillian. I love that. So Jillian was, so we have our Hay House Writers community, which we're going to tell you about in a little bit, and you might have seen it on your dashboard when you came in. And Jillian was the first winner from the Hay House Writers Community Contest. So she obviously is a member of the writers community, and we'll let her share her experience doing that and then getting her book done and all that. So welcome, Jillian.
Thanks so much, Reed and Kelly. It is great to be back with this group. And as you mentioned, I'm just a few steps ahead of where everyone is here today. I remember sitting in these virtual seats and joining my January 4-day free boot camp and knowing that I always wanted to be an author and that I didn't know how I was going to get there. And so I was so inspired by the 4 days that when the opportunity came up to join the writers community, I wasn't entirely sure if it was the right decision for me. I had a lot of doubts in my mind because I started as a CPA, like Reed, and
Yeah,
I don't know, there's some
exactly.
strange CPA.
Great way to start. Mike
pipelines.
Dooley, too.
If you're a CPA, you might as well sign up because that's the next right step. But for me, to give you some context as far as where I was in my life, I was going through a divorce to my spouse, my husband of almost 20 years. I was homeschooling my kids. We ran a small business together. We were through a year of the pandemic. I mean, there was a lot of challenging things in my life going on. And so the thought of joining and investing in myself almost felt a little selfish. And I don't know if anyone else there, especially women out there or mothers out there, sometimes it's hard to invest in ourselves when we know there's a lot of other places where we could spend our money. But deep inside, this felt like the next right step for me. I knew that I was going to want a community and need a community that would support me through the process. I knew I needed accountability. I also thought it was such a unique, and I can't overemphasize this enough, that if you're brand new to an industry, the fact that you could sit on a Zoom call once a month with two incredibly successful, knowledgeable CEOs in the industry and get information from them and have the chance to ask a question, like that alone was so invaluable to me. And then there was the contest. And I had talked to a friend who had self-published. She told me about the process. I knew for me in my brain, it seemed incredibly overwhelming. And so the contest seemed like my shot, my one way that maybe I could make it into publishing. I felt like I was the kid at the concert and the bouncer comes over and says, "Hey kid, here's the back door." So fortunately enough, I joined the writers community. I loved it. The contest was coming up and somebody gifted me a session with a life coach. And that life coach asked me how my book proposal was going. And I said, well, it's really not, I don't know if I'm the right person for this. I came up with every obstacle in my mind why I couldn't possibly be published. And she said, if you don't submit your book proposal, you are making the biggest mistake of your life. And she could not have been more true. I still pay her to this day because she obviously gives some very good advice. But we worked hard. I got my book proposal in. And a few months later, my phone rang while I was sitting in my minivan in the parking lot of my kids' tutoring school. And it was Reed. And I quickly grabbed a notebook and a pen because I thought, okay, I'm going to have to take notes. Like, I don't know what Reed is calling me for. It must be because my credit card expired on my community membership, because, Reed would, of course, take care of all the accounting and administrative work too. And Reed said, you won. And so I took what is probably the most ridiculous note of my life that I still have today. You can see, it just says, Reed won. That was it. As if like somehow I would get off the phone and forget what happened during the but I keep this piece of paper and I actually keep it on the bulletin board that's right in front of my desk here when I work and I write every day, because it's the reminder to me that I did what I thought was impossible and I made it possible. And that's why I'm so excited to be here with you, because while not everyone joins the community, not everyone submits their book proposal, and not everyone can win, you can give yourself a shot. You can give yourself a great opportunity. And for me, it's been life-changing. My book came out in April of 2023. It was named to Good Morning America's list of 13 recommended spring reads. It has opened so many doors for me now, and I cannot express to you how much my life has evolved, not only just from having my book out in the world. Like, if you've ever dreamed of having a book, there is nothing like holding your book baby in your hands, regardless of how you publish. But what it has done for me in my life, in so many aspects of my life, have been truly incredible. And now I write full time. And I'm working on my first fiction book that my agent is about to submit. And
Great.
It's been incredible. And it's all because it started here and it started in this boot camp.
I love it. And so what was it like writing the book? Like once you won the contest and you had okay, that's great, the book proposal, but now you got to write the whole book. Like how did that process go for you?
Well, to be totally honest, and some people may not love this answer, but I loved the process. I know there's some people who are like,
Kelly likes it.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, there's definitely things that I write today where it's like, okay, this is a little bit more work. I need that button chair time to focus and get it done. But when it came to this book, it was so much of what was on my heart. And I felt like things were coming to me like a divine download. Like I couldn't even type fast enough to keep up.
And tell them what your book's about a little bit. So, I mean, we
sure.
see the title there.
Well, it's a little bit gay, but what it really is about, kind of underlying, is that I was very much a perfectionist and a people pleaser, and I was living a life that I thought followed the path of what I was supposed to do. I talk about reaching the top of supposed to mountain and still feeling empty inside. And so it's a story about learning ourselves and knowing ourselves better, about giving ourselves permission to explore who we are and what we really want out of life instead of what we're told we should want out of life. And at 38 years old, in a craniosacral therapy session, I came out as a lesbian, which again created this major life change. And so this book is a little bit of a love story to the community for the people who have been out far longer than I have and have paved the way to make things easier for me. But it's also an invitation to everyone to go after the life that you dream of. And the stories that I've heard from readers around the world, whether they're part of the LGBTQIA plus community, whether they're an ally to the community, or whether they're even a not yet ally, and they want to learn and they want to just know more and have a space where they can maybe ask the questions or find the information that they're scared to ask. I've been so grateful to have that opportunity to share that with the world. I got goosebumps. Just
Amazing. And Jillian, would you say your book is a memoir or a teaching memoir?
Well, so I tried to hang my hat on teaching memoir for quite a long time, just because I thought, again, that was what I was supposed to put out there. This book really is mostly memoir. However, one of my favorite reviews of the book is somebody said they loved it because it was so ordinary. Like, I haven't won a World Cup championship. I'm not a famous singer. People have found the book very relatable, and almost everyone who reads it can find themselves somewhere in the story. And I think that's been really cool too, to find that common thread of humanity through my own weird, quirky story. Yeah.
Love it. Well, I think it gives hope to people here who are writing memoirs. Those of you who are in the VIP, you have a contest. And if you're writing a memoir, it could win. So it's exciting to see that.
Yeah. So thank you for changing my life.
Well, thank you, Jillian, for stopping by for a little to share your story. And if the book sounds interesting, you can get it on Amazon. Perfectly Queer is the name of the book right there.
There you go.
And but it's so great, and it just shows like the writers community, you can learn a lot and get your book and change your life. Like, it's amazing. So we love these stories, me and Kelly, because like we do a lot of work and lots of people see it, but we don't see the results of everyone. We know there's lots of good ones, but it's fun to hear from them directly. So
Definitely. Yeah.
Good luck, Jillian. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Awesome.
So
Thanks,
we're gonna
Anna put the link to Jillian's book in the chat. So if you want to go buy it off Amazon, you can do that right now.
All right, our next person is a big success story. Her name is Kelly McDaniel, and she wrote an amazing book called Mother Hunger. And she was at an in-person workshops in Portland, and she was the winner of that contest. And her book is sold, between the book, audio, ebook, foreign editions, over 100,000 for sure. It's been a huge success. And it's still like every week I see it on the top 50 books I see every week. And that book's still there, and it has big spikes every once in a while when Kelly gets out and talks about it.
I know, exactly. I don't know if you know.
Someone reads it and posts it on Instagram. Or
I gotta say, Kelly, your book is amazing. So I just want to say that to everybody, that anyone who resonates with even the title Mother Hunger, I've probably bought 10 copies of your book and given it away to people. That is how much I love this book. And so it's so exciting to have you here because you really are such a huge success story from our contest. So
Yeah.
it just goes to show that you can knock it out of the park, even if you weren't, I would love to know from you, like, what did you know about publishing before you came to that event? Was that sort of like new? Had you been looking at it for a while? What was your journey prior to learning from us about this?
So glad you asked that question because that's maybe something I really can speak to. But before I do, I just really want to thank you both. Thanks for having me here. This is so exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, I signed up for that workshop knowing I had this book in me, but not really sure what I was going to do. And I already had published a book before, the very small publishing house. It's actually called Ready to Heal, which was my first book. I never marketed it. I mean, it's a great book, but whatever. But that's where I came up with the concept of mother hunger. But I learned more about book publishing in that weekend with Hay House and Reed and Kelly than I had ever known. And that book had come out in 2008. I had done a second edition of it in 2012. I still didn't have a clue what I was really doing. So I go to your workshop to learn. And it blew my mind. All I learned about a book proposal and the layers of the publishing world. You all were so helpful and so informative. And I'm a pretty shy person. I mean, I'm a psychotherapist. I'm trained to listen and be very private. But I was so exuberant about this concept and felt so good about Reed and Kelly that I think, Reed, I walked right up to you during the break. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That is so not me. But I had a lot of faith in this topic. I knew it needed to be in the world, but I was really not confident to bring it to the world. So I've been thrilled that the reception has been really good.
Yeah, amazingly good.
Amazing, really.
Kelly can tell you that Kelly McDaniel can tell you that our editors are begging her to write another book. And this book is just getting started. I feel like we're selling more and more each year, and it's been an amazing thing. And how has this book being published affected your life, Kelly?
I think I'm still, I mean, it came out in the summer of 2021, and if we were all still reeling from COVID, I mean, we weren't quite out in the world. So it was a really soft kind of landing, which I'm glad I had built an Instagram account before it came out, which I'm not a social media person, but I really had some fun with it. And I'm so glad because that was a way I could connect with readers, even though I didn't go on a book tour. So that was great. But then what really changed everything is Jada Pinkett Smith was at her best friend's house one weekend having brunch, and she saw the Mother Hunger book on the coffee table, and the title spoke to her. And anyone with Mother Hunger, the minute they hear the title, it lands with a thud. So if it doesn't land, you don't have it. If it does land, this book might be helpful. And so Jada took it home, I guess, read it that weekend, and she had her folks call me on Monday. And the next thing I know, she's flying me to LA. They're doing professional makeup, and I got to do the red table talk. And y'all, I was so nervous because I had never seen the red table talk. And I had never spoken about mother hunger with 3 generations of women in the same family. So I had Jada, her mother, her daughter. And I can't tell you, they were the most respectful, the most lovely people. And then they had me out again when Jeanette's book came out about I'm glad my mom died. They called me right up and they said, we think you need to be on the panel to talk to Jeanette. And so 2 times Jada has really championed this topic, this book, and I'm eternally grateful to.
Amazing.
Anyway, I think that put the book on the map, and then Goop picked it up, which was great. I mean,
yeah, we had lots and lots and lots. Every day someone new talks about it, to be honest. Like it
well,
has
I mean,
a kind of life of its own at this point.
Yes.
It does seem to, which is, I mean, we never would have, who would have known?
Right.
Exactly.
Well, it's a combination of your deep understanding and wisdom and so many years of having worked with this topic that you knew when you wrote it that it was true and real. And we've been talking this week to people about potentially teaching what they're writing about before they put it into a book, because that can be really helpful. But I think that was one reason. But then also there's some serendipity to it that the timing was right, the zeitgeist was right. And these are the kinds of things that we can't really necessarily prepare for, but everybody just has to put their book out and see what life wants to do with it. And you're one of those examples of life picking it up and carrying it into, so many important hands. Again, like I said, I give it to a lot of people because it really is such a powerful book and a message that you put into words, things that I think a lot of people have known, but they haven't actually had words for before. So,
Well, they didn't. In fact, I didn't either. I mean, I'd been treating it, working with it for 2 decades, but it was not until you all gave me the book contract that I really realized I've got to operationalize what it is a mother does. And that is not anything that was out in the culture. So I think in some ways I was nervous to put this book out there because I didn't want to risk adding any more burden to women, to mothers, to families.
Right.
And it's done just the opposite, I think. And fortunately, it's not a parenting book, thank goodness. But I think there are mothers or women thinking about becoming mothers that are taking this book to heart before they have children, which is great. But it's really written for adult daughters who are trying to understand concepts that we're all struggling with, and we don't understand the root of the attachment. So I was seeing it clinically, but talking about it, writing about it, it took a lot longer than I thought it would. I think it took about 2.5, 3 years to write the book and do it in a way that I made sure every word would land gently.
Yeah, and that makes sense because you're working full time as you were writing the book. Is that right?
Yes, I was. I did. I was lucky. I was able to take a whole month off and get 3 chapters done. So I can relate to what Keela was saying, that if you can go away for 2 or 3 months, you can knock a book out. But a lot of us are doing life. We're raising children. We're getting married. We're getting divorced. We're trying to work. So life kind of gets in the way sometimes. But I've been really thrilled too with how well your outreach has been with outside the US. I get so many words of affirmation from the UK, from a lot in Latin America. People really saying, will you, speak to this in another language, which I think, we've been doing our best to do.
Yeah.
We did talk about that, I think, on day 2, about that's one of the benefits of going with a publisher and the traditional route is that you do have professionals out there pitching your book and letting the world know that it exists. Yes. And then it has the opportunity to be translated into these other languages.
Yeah, and really how it works, just so like all you guys understand, is we put it out in English, and with Hay House it comes out in the UK, Australia, and the US, and Canada, and all at the same time. But then really we present it to people all over the world, but as it starts selling, a lot of times in those markets, people recognize it and go, oh, I should do it in Spanish, I should do it in German, I should do it. It's in, I think, like 16 or 20 countries in different languages and that sort of thing, but you never know which ones it's going to catch on. So that's the thing, is that we were saying, we gave an example of another book that became huge in Germany, and you just never know like what's going to happen, when it's going to happen. The books seem to take off on their own, and even if you self-publish your book, you'll get people that might find it on Amazon and say, oh, can I publish it in this country or that country? It's very, very common that it happens, and so it's great though that you see that, and all these people come to your website or Instagram and message you and all that sort of thing. Kelly, can you give people just a quick idea of what the book's about? Like, we see the title and everything, and a few people are going, I see the title, but what's it about? So
yes, exactly. Which you remember we kind of we discussed that, Reed, but what Mother Hunger is a book that speaks to adult women, what it is like to grow up as a daughter, being born needing certain things as human babies. We need nurturing, we need protection, and we need guidance. And we look to our mother for this because we're born attached to her already. We fall in love with her in utero. We already know her voice, her smell, and we're already in love when we're born. So it works a lot with attachment science, a lot with the early 3 years of life, the first 1,000 days of life. What I want to say is, even though it's packed full of science, it's written in a way that it's for the general population. It's not a clinical text, although I have therapists. It's changed my life because now I train therapists. Because they're all coming to me saying, we didn't learn this in grad school. And even when we did try to learn it in grad school, nobody explained it this well. So it's helping them in their practice, help all the people that are reading the book. Lots of people go in and give the book to their therapist and say, you got to read this because this is my problem. So it's really been helpful, I think, professionally and for the general population, but it's definitely not written in a clinical way that would be off-putting. But one of the biggest gifts is when you all said, hey, go ahead and go do the audiobook. Because it turns out, and I didn't even know this, that I have a whole chapter in this book for women who grew up with a more difficult form of mother hunger. It's on a spectrum, really, because some of us get some nurturing, but maybe we weren't protected. Maybe we got lots of guidance, but not a lot of soft affection. So sometimes we missed out on all of it. And I have a special category for that. Well, it turns out, and I didn't know this, but that the women that fit in that category in third-degree mother hunger really can't read the book. The concentration's not there. It's too triggering. It's a difficult topic. And what they can do is listen to the audiobook. And I get feedback all the time that women are using it to go to sleep at night. They're listening to it when they drive before they go pick up their children. They listen to it before they have to go see their mother. They listen to it when they just need to go stretch and do some yoga. So
I think my wife listens to it before she goes sees her mother. My wife loved the book so much. Really, to be honest, like Kelly and Nancy Levin both told me, oh my God, this is the greatest book. And then we published it. So I was already a big fan before we even got it out. And then I gave it to my wife and she loved it. So those are like three of the people I trust the most to tell me if the books are good. And then that helped me get everyone excited here. Obviously your editor was already saying how great it was too, but it really shows you, like, when you write that, like we've been saying for 4 days, like, write a great book and everyone will tell you about it. It's just like Jada reading the book and say, you got to have her on. And that's what's happening. More and more people are reading it. So writing a great book that took 2.5 years to write was totally worth it because it changed your life forever. Like, it'll, like, it's like Kelly McDaniel now is different than she was before the book, I'm assuming. So.
Oh yeah, nobody knew who I was. Right. Thank you for telling me that, though. That's really wonderful. I didn't know that. It's been such a neat surprise to see how the book finds the nightstand. I was out taking a jog the other day. I live in this little rural mountain town. Nobody knows who I am. It's great. I'm out taking a jog. This is the coolest. And there's a guy out working in the yard, and he works on a lot of yards around here. And he stops me. I've got on no makeup. No, I don't know how. He said, Are you that person that wrote Mother Hunger? I'm like, okay, first of all, men don't usually come up to me because it's not a good thing. And I said, yeah, first thing in the morning. I said, yes, I am. And he said, it's on my wife's nightstand, so I recognize your picture.
That's amazing.
It's just the coolest. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, congratulations, Kelly. I know it's going to continue going great because like I said, every week I see giant sales, so
Yeah.
it's still selling great. We look forward to talking you into book number 3 and get that one out. I had to give you the pitch since I got you here, right here.
That's right.
Because I'm always asking Patty and the whole team, like, can we get another book from Kelly? Like, what's going on? So, so
We'll talk.
exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much.
So good to
and
have you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming and sharing your wisdom with all these writers all
That's
over the
right.
world. So thank you very much. Well, it seems like a lot of you like those stories, which is awesome. It's good to get a little motivation going to start the day.
Definitely. These 3 women you just heard from, they are just like you. There is really no difference there at all. They had a book dream, they came to learn from us, and then next thing you know, they have a book in the world. So we really hope that encourages each one of you to take the next step.
Yeah, I think we even have a slide of all the
Oh, yes, we
countries
do.
that Kelly's books in, or some of the countries. You guys see it's in 18 different countries or languages, but it
So
really has spread all over the world, and it's sold more than 100,000 just in the United States, but it's sold everywhere. So,
unbelievable.
you
I mean,
know.
such a good book too. We know being in the business that not every good book actually does find its audience, even though it's great. And this one is a great book that totally found its audience. And it's really, yeah, it's very exciting to see.
Yeah. So now we're going to spend a few minutes and tell you about our memberships before we get back into some more teaching stuff for you. So we've said we have 2 memberships. One is the Hay House Writers Community. And the Hay House Writers Community is really aimed to all of you that are any step you are in the writing process. You might not have even started your book yet. You might just be thinking about what you're going to do or how you're going to do it, all the way to you're thinking about publishing it, but you don't know all the steps. Like we gave you a little bit of the self-publishing to traditional publishing, but in the membership itself, we have all the details of every bit of it. And also, part of the membership is you get 2 additional times to submit your book proposal for Hay House to publish it. So the VIP people get 1 chance. So if you join either of the memberships, you're going to get 2 more chances, so 3 chances. But all of you in the general, that'll give you 2 chances, 1 in June and 1 in December. That's when they are to submit your book proposal. And for authorpreneur, they're in April and August. So they're just in different times. And then one very, very special thing about Hay House Writers Community today is that anyone who joins by midnight today, Pacific time here in California, gets feedback on your book proposal. So normally in the writers community, you don't get feedback. You heard like Alicia say she got feedback because she was one of the top people. She got honorable mention, so that gives you feedback. But now, if you join today by midnight, everyone who joins gets it. Um, and that's invaluable for you because obviously you can see what you need to improve, why you didn't win, what you need to change. And it'll not only help you for Hay House, but for agents and other publishers and all that sort of thing. Like we said it was like $199 value, but as we're figuring out the first people that we're giving feedback to from our last time we did this, it's really costing us more than $199 to give the feedback. So it's you're getting a heck of a deal because it's literally costing Hay House more than that to do it. And you don't have to pay anything additional. You just join the Hay House Writers community. submit
Today.
your book
Gotta
proposal.
be
You have
today.
to join
Yep.
today, and there's no chance to get it if you don't do it today. So
Yeah.
that's just to be clear. So
Yeah.
some of you will take a while to make a decision, but you won't get the feedback unless you join today by midnight today.
That's
So
right. And if you
um,
decide to join Authorpreneur, you automatically get feedback. That's
yeah.
every contest, every submission gets feedback in Authorpreneur because it's a little bit of a different model. But if you want it in the writers community, today is the day. You definitely want to jump in. And if you know that you want this help, we say, why not go for it? I do want to say one thing that came up the other day with Nick. He was talking about how it felt like so much information everyone was getting at the boot camp, but that you really only have to do one step at a time. What I really love about the membership is that it actually is a step-by-step guide. So there are modules that go in order, and you can jump into it wherever you are in the process now, but then you know what the next step is and you just move on to the next module. So you don't have to think, okay, I got all this information. How do I sort through it? How do I figure out what the next step is? It's 100% laid out for you. I actually have the little map here. I know you probably have a digital version. Here's my analog.
Yeah, well, let's
version.
put the digital version up.
Yeah.
I think we have the whole
Let's put the digital version up of the membership. So basically you can see this is for the writers community. Each one of these little loops is one module. So if you are just getting started, like you brand new beginner, this is your first outing, you start at the beginning of Pathway 1, where you're going to learn about building that writing habit, how to actually be inspired, what your motivation is, how to write about your life, because so many people are doing that, organizing your writing time, etc. Right? That's Pathway 1. Pathway 2 is for people who already are writing. You're in the process, but you're really trying to figure out how to narrow down your topic, get your hook right, who's your ideal reader, what's your genre, how do you get your outline, etc. Each one of these modules has a main teaching from me and Reed, and then 2 different smaller sort of assignments that will keep you moving forward as you move, through each of the different modules. That one finishes with the book proposal. In Pathway 2, you're writing your book. You're actually creating the manuscript or the proposal. And if you're in the membership, obviously a proposal is a great idea because you are going to have the opportunity to submit to the contest. One more time, if you're writing fiction, you do need to do the entire manuscript and part of the book proposal. Those of you who are in VIP, we're going to talk to you all about that in our VIP day today. So don't worry about it right now. But just know Pathway 2, you've got to write either the proposal or the proposal / manuscript if you're writing fiction. Then we move into publishing. We go back through the process of, we find that people who come back to this boot camp over and over again, it's because they know that there was something that they heard that they can't remember. Everything that we talked about this week is in here and more. Each one of these modules goes into deeper depth on working with an editor, what the timeline is if you're going to self-publish or you're going to traditionally publish. How do you decide whether to go for an agent or start with self-publishing, etc. Pathway 4 is all about the promotion. So we are going to teach you about that later today. So don't worry, you're going to get a bit of it here, but really about what it means to build an author platform and how do you get the word out about your book when the book comes out in the world? How do you find those readers that need your book? And then the 5th pathway is specifically for those of you who are writing fiction. Fiction is covered throughout the whole thing, but there are some specific differences for fiction writers, and we wanted to make sure that you get everything that you need. So long story short, this membership is great for both nonfiction and fiction writers. Basically, any type of book that you would be writing, the membership works for you.
Yep, and it's all in short little segments. It's not like hours and hours at a time. It's in 10 to 20-minute segments so that you can just watch certain parts and you get access to all of it at once. So wherever you are in the publishing journey, you can go there and you'll see it. So it's perfect in that way, and it is really easy to consume because of these short segments that some Kelly and I do together, some Kelly does by herself. So you're getting all that information. Also, you get Kelly and I, we do Q&As every month. So you get an hour Q&A with us together every month for 12 months. So that's amazing too. And we just completely redid the whole entire membership in
Earlier,
2025. So we just redid the whole entire thing.
So it is up to
And
date.
and also, we have a whole bonus all about AI, which
Mhm.
helps you with all the questions you might have of AI. We mentioned AI a little bit, but we have a whole in-depth thing of how to use AI, what to do, use it for, all that sort of stuff.
And that
So,
hook bot that I demonstrated yesterday, that is in the membership. You have full access to it if you sign up for either of these memberships. It's in both. And the AI modules and the fiction are in both the writers community and authorpreneur.
exactly. And then Authorpreneur is really all about if you want to publish your book and build your business, that's basically what it is that we can show the pathways for Authorpreneur. And so you see it's a little bit different. It starts a little bit further along because we're assuming that if you have a business or you want to create a business around a book, you already kind of know what you're going to write. So that we eliminate that step, but we add other steps. So it's about, building your platform, how to publish your book, how to promote your book, which is important if you want to get a lot of people to read it and to get it out there, and then how to use your book to grow a business. And if you go through this whole thing, I promise if you're going to use your book to grow your business,
Yeah.
you'll easily pay for the whole entire thing
So true.
in no effort at all.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
and,
Just go through it. Yep.
yep, you just have to go through it. And in there, we help you also like start memberships, start your own online course, all those kind of things. So for any of you that are really thinking about using the book to get your business going or even want tips to help get your business going, it's a great starting point for you. So we kind of have those two ways to go about it. And if you join the Hay House Writers community and then decide, oh, maybe I should go to Authorpreneur, you can upgrade from there as well. So it's really set up, like I said earlier, for you to finish your book in 1 year, get it out into the world, so you can get it out there, self-publish it, and you also have opportunities to get your book published by Hay House. So it's everything you could ever want in one place. And while it costs money, it's relatively so cheap compared to everyone else's
Right.
program. So it's $500 for the writers community, $1,000 for Authorpreneur, and
For the
then we
whole
have
year. Yep.
yeah, for the whole entire year. And we have quarterly payment plans, but go to hayhouse.com/join to get more information on that, and you'll really see. But compared to lots of other ones out there, which are 2, 3, 4, 10 times as much, I promise you're going to learn more from Kelly and I than any of them.
Right,
So-
definitely. And I do want to say, some people are asking, well, what about, can I still submit for VIP? Absolutely. If you were to join one of these memberships, you would have 3 different contest opportunities in the next year. You could submit for your VIP contest that you have as part of your entry here, for those of you who are here in the room. And you get 2 contests for each in whichever membership you decide to join. So you get multiple opportunities. And again, if you join Authorpreneur, you'll get feedback on both of those submissions inside the Authorpreneur. And if you sign up for the writers community today, we've extended that offer to you as well. So that's huge, because for the lower price, you still get feedback on your book proposals. It's a really amazing offer. And one
Yeah.
more thing, now and after we're finished today for both the general and for the VIP, we have another breakout expert room, which is going to be specifically about these 2 memberships. And our wonderful membership managers, Anna and Krista, will be in that room. So after we're done today, and they can answer all questions for you. Anna really runs the writers community. Krista runs Authorpreneur. They know everything there is to know about both, and you can ask them questions. So be sure to check that out if you have any questions or anything you want to know that we haven't brought up here.
Yeah, so that gives you a little overview of where we're going with it, and then like Kelly said, the questions are great in the expert room at the end. For the general people, it'll be when we're done with this session, and then for VIP when you're done with VIP. So we still have the VIP. Don't leave us at the end of
Don't leave us, exactly. In fact, in the VIP time today, we're going to be focusing on the submission contest for the VIP room. So we're going to talk to you about the book proposal. We're going to talk to you about where to find information about what needs to go in it, what the contest deadlines are, all of that. So don't worry about all of that. We're going to get to that later today. And
Yeah.
we're also going to get to talking about platform later today as well.
Yeah, and that's for everybody. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about that. So and if you have any questions, instead of putting it in the chat, if you just go to Q&A on your little thing, you
Yep.
can
At the bottom
enter.
of your screen, sometimes you have to go to the 3 dots, the more section, and you'll see Q&A as an option. And Anna and Krista are in there answering all of your questions. I think Chris is in there too. There's a lot of people in
Yeah.
there answering questions. So you're welcome to put your questions about the memberships in there, and they'll be able to get back to you in writing as well.
Because the regular chat goes so fast that by the
Yeah.
time they answer it, you might not see it. But if you go in the Q&A.
Yeah.
So now we have another video for you, and this one's from Ben Azadi. And Ben is a new Hay House author as well. He wrote a book called Metabolic Freedom, which has become a huge best-selling book. And he started off in self-publishing, so he has a little story for you here to tell you about what he did, how he did it. I just think these are so good just to motivate you to get going. And we'll let Ben share it with you.
Hey, my name is Ben Azadi. I'm the New York Times bestselling author of Metabolic Freedom, published with Hay House. And I gotta say, for many years, I never looked at myself or considered that I was a writer or an author. It was a dream for so many years. In high school and college, I just felt like I was never a great writer. I was not even a reader until my early 20s. But I remember being so inspired by authors out there. Dr. Wayne Dyer being one of them, Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn. I mean, these incredible individuals. And one of the things that really connected with me when I would read a book is I would feel like I would gain years, decades of their wisdom and mistakes and their research in just a matter of hours. Now I have that superpower, right? It's like turning decades into days. It was super cool. And every time I read a book, I would feel inspired and I would take action. It would change my life. It would change my relationship. And for so many years, I thought I would love to write a book. I would love to be an author. And then, of course, I had those stinking thinking thoughts that just held me back. Like, you're not good enough. You never wrote when you were a kid. Who do you think you are, right? And we all have these sort of self-limiting beliefs. And in 2018, I decided, okay, I'm just going to brain dump. I'm going to grab a document and just write down ideas for a book. So I started writing down these ideas. The Perfect Health Booklet was the name of the book. And then it started forming into chapters, and I started getting excited about a table of contents. And I ended up self-publishing that book. And at this time, I owned a CrossFit gym here in Miami, and the students or the members of the gym bought the book. We had a little book launch party at the gym. It was a lot of fun, and it was cool self-publishing my book. Then I went on to write a second book and a third book. These were all self-published. But a part of me was like, I really want to work with a publisher. And one of my favorite publishers, still to this day, has been Hay House. I kind of mentioned Dr. Wayne Dyer earlier on in this video. Well, when I was 24 years old, back in 2008, I was going through the most difficult time of my life. I was obese physically. I was obese mentally. I was ready to just give up on myself. I was exploring ways to do so. And I kept thinking about my mother and the devastation she would have to deal with if I went through with that. At this time, I weighed 250 pounds. I was just broken, tiptoeing my way through life, hoping to land safely on death's door. And then I got into the books of Dr. Wayne Dyer and other authors. But Dr. Wayne Dyer would say things that would just light me up. I remember him saying, hey, what happens when you squeeze an orange? What comes out? Well, orange juice. That's obvious. Why? Because that's what's inside. What happens when life squeezes you and applies pressure to you? What comes out is what's inside. Your thoughts, your attitude, your emotion. So if you change what's inside, what comes out takes care of itself. And then he said something else that just really changed my life. He said, most people do not understand the word responsibility. Responsibility is your ability to respond to life. That is your responsibility. Made sense. And if your ability to respond to life is poor, you're going to get poor results. But if your ability to respond to life is great, you're going to get great results. And this really woke me up because I was blaming everybody for my problems. It's my mom's fault. It's my friends who are holding me back. It's XYZ. But when I took responsibility, all that changed. Now, I'm so grateful to call myself a Hay House author. The man that changed my life, I would argue saved my life, Dr. Wayne Dyer, was a Hay House author. So I'm very grateful to be a part of this family. And I want to just get into the differences that I experience with self-publishing versus going with the publisher, kind of the framework behind how I write books, and hopefully, I believe this will make a big difference for you. So there are pros and cons to both, right? Self-publishing is a fantastic idea. You have all creative control. You get the book out as fast as you want. It's all you. But then the drawback, I remember for me, there's not really any timelines in place. You're not having somebody hold you accountable except for yourself. So for the first book that I wrote, it took me close to 2 years. I didn't have a certain date that I needed to turn in the manuscript, right? It was all dependent on me. That could also be a blessing because there's nothing kind of stopping you from getting it out there. And the way that it's all set up now with Amazon and it's so easy to self-publish. In my first book, the Perfect Health booklet, and actually all of my self-published books, all were Amazon bestsellers. I think that's a worthy goal. And if that is one of your goals, that is fantastic. And I also learned that, look, with self-publishing, it didn't have to be perfect. I just needed to make progress. There was different versions, not necessarily editions, but versions I would update because I would get some of my readers who would email me saying there's spelling errors here. So I didn't really have an editor. I didn't have somebody going through it, looking at these spelling issues. So that's kind of like a pro and con, right? You have all creative control, get it out when you want, but then you don't really have it professionally done, somebody editing it. But I do believe this. If you choose to self-publish, it's going to just build your author muscle, your voice, your confidence, your consistency. Like, just get it out into the world. I mean, you have something inside of you right now that is going to help so many people. And if that route to getting it out into the world means you self-published, that's amazing, right? Get it out there. It's not about you. It's about the message. It's about who that person is who's going to read your book. You're going to change their life. Like Dr. Wayne Dyer saved my life because of his books. Now, this led me to wanting to eventually work with the publisher. It was just a dream. And I looked at all the big publishers out there, but the biggest one in my heart is Hay House. Now, my good friend and colleague, Dr. Mindy Peltz, she published with Hay House with her first book and all of her other books, but her first book was Fast Like a Girl. And she would share with me her experience with Hay House, and it was such an amazing experience. She would just rave about her working with Hay House, and I saw how successful her book, Fast Like a Girl, did with Hay House. So Hay House was on my radar. So for me, it was, okay, that's my number one choice, Hay House. So I had this idea for a book. This is the book right here, Metabolic Freedom. This is the first published book with the publisher that I have written. And of course, I spoke with Hay House. I put together the proposal. I went through all the proper steps. And then I got a book deal. And I remember getting that email. I was actually in Salt Lake City, Utah, Park City, Utah, actually. I live in Miami, but I was in Park City recording content. And I knew that I had submitted the proposal and I was waiting to hear back from Hay House. So I was just checking the emails every single day. And I looked at the email from my phone and, the offer came through. And it was such an amazing feeling. It was just, and I'm just going back and reliving it right now. It was so cool. Signed the deal, right? Then it was about, okay, getting the book done. So here's the framework of how I write and how I wrote Metabolic Freedom, and I'm writing a new book right now. So for me, it starts with understanding what I want each chapter to be about. And once I kind of outline the framework, then I'll reverse engineer, and I'll spend time on each chapter. I won't just go from chapter 1 to chapter 7 or chapter 5 and kind of work around on different days. I will spend my entire focus on a chapter. And I noticed that when I write or research or do anything for the book that's more than 3 hours, I tend to get fatigued. So for me, my schedule when I wrote Metabolic Freedom was writing or researching every day, but no more than 3 hours. and I found myself refreshed and renewed when I capped it at 3 hours. Now, this worked for me. This might not be what works for you, but I started to reverse engineer and look at studies and kind of like put it into a document. And as I was being built out, I just kept getting excited and more excited. And then it just turned into a whole book. And of course, I worked with an editor. We got it all cleaned up. Hay House edited it as well and reviewed it. And then it was out into the world. And I remember part of that experience was not just writing the book, but was also recording the audiobook. Okay, the audiobook. I don't know if you've ever recorded the audio for your book, but it's quite the experience. It's a challenging experience. For me, it was very challenging. I took longer than I thought. It's different than just talking on camera or recording a podcast or being in a conversation. It needs to be professional. It needs to be the way that it needs to be. And you work with the sound engineer and you're being stopped a lot when you don't pronounce a word correctly or stumble or mumble or whatever it is. And it was a learning experience. But here's the thing. I respect when authors read their own book. I just think it's a huge positive. So I wanted to read my own book and I read it. It took many hours, but I read it. It got edited. It's now on Audible. It's my voice. It's on Spotify. I love that it's my voice. My audience loves that it's my voice. And you know what? At the end of the day, it was a learning experience. It challenged me. It was very challenging to record the audiobook. It was really cool. I was recording Instagram stories from the studio, but I got better. It helped me become a better communicator. So anyways, if you have the choice to record your audiobook, I suggest you take it. I think it's better. Even if it's challenging, you'll learn and get better, and it's better for your audience. So once I got the audiobook done, I got the actual manuscript for the book done, which was actually before the audiobook. One of the things that I noticed in terms of the differences between self-publishing and then working with a publisher like Hay House is when you have a publisher behind your book, it holds more authority. All right. So one of the things that I was never able to do when I self-published was to get my book in the bookstores like Barnes & Noble and Books and Books, etc. And I always wanted to see my book in bookstores. I remember when I was a kid, Best Buy. Many of you know Best Buy. It's the electronics store in the United States. When I was a kid and I walked into Best Buy, it was like my favorite place to be. I would just, all these electronics, I would get this surge of dopamine. I'd want to be in the store for hours. Mom, let's go to Best Buy. Take me to Best Buy. It was such an amazing feeling. Now, as an adult, I don't feel the same way when I go into Best Buy because electronics are not my highest values now. My highest values now are books. You see, I have books. I love books. So when I walk into a bookstore, I get that same feeling as when I was a kid that I had at Best Buy. Dopamine hit, all these authors, like these are life-changing books. These are books that could make a difference in the world. So I always wanted to have my book in the bookstore. So when Metabolic Freedom came out, May 13th, 2025, first thing I did with my fiance Natasha is we drove to the bookstores in Miami where we live. And it was just so cool seeing my book in the store. I mean, I'll show some images here of me holding up the book. It was so exciting. It was so exhilarating. It's such a special moment. I want this for you as well. That's not to say you cannot get a self-published book in a bookstore. You can. I've seen it happen before. I just was never able to do it myself. Hay House got it in the bookstores, and it's such a special moment. It was just so cool. And I signed the book. You know, of course, I told the employee that I was signing the book, left a little message and, signed the book. And anybody who found it now got a signed copy of Metabolic Freedom. It was very, very cool. But going back to the authority piece, when you have a publisher behind you, I do think it holds more weight. You might be able to get on larger podcasts. You might be able to get more different speaking opportunities. That's not to say you can't do all that stuff as a self-published author. I did a lot of speaking and podcasting as a self-published author. Don't let that hold you back. A lot of people use that. I'm not saying this is you, but there are some authors that use that as an excuse why they're not as successful. Oh, I'm not a published author like this person. That's why I'm not getting on this stage, or that's why I'm not able to get on this podcast. That's BS, okay? You could really achieve whatever you want as a self-published author. Okay, so for me moving forward, I've made the decision to continue working with Hay House. I'm writing my second book with them right now. I love my experience with them. I love the team. I love just what they're about. It's such an honor to be a part of the family. Something that I did, And I know that some people don't have this goal, so this is fine. And you could take this and apply it to any goal. But one of the things that I did to help Metabolic Freedom reach many lives and be successful, and we did hit the New York Times bestseller list as well, was that I wrote on a card. So I'm a big fan, and I teach this in chapter 10 of Metabolic Freedom. I'm a big fan of writing down your goals on a goal card. I want to give credit to Bob Proctor here because I learned this from him, and I'm going to share this with you right now. This is huge, huge. I really hope you love this part. Bob Proctor called it ABC goal setting. We have A-type goals, we have B-type goals, and we have C-type goals. Most authors, most people, if they set a goal, it's an A-type goal. An A-type goal is a goal you set that's not very exciting. It doesn't stretch you. It doesn't take you out of your comfort zone. You've hit that goal before. Okay, I'll give you a couple of examples of an A-type goal. You have a 2020 Toyota Corolla, and your goal is to buy a 2026 Toyota Corolla. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't get the new car, but you already hit that goal before. It's not exciting. Another example as an A-type goal is that you've sold 5,000 copies of your self-published book or your published book with a publisher. And on your second book, you want to sell, 8,000 copies. Okay, that's great. 3,000 more, but is it really exciting? Not really. A B-type goal is a goal that does stretch you a little bit, but you could kind of sit down, think about the pieces that need to come together, and by thinking about it, you could hit that goal. I'll give you an example. Let's go back to the example I just gave about selling 5,000 copies, and your A-type goal is to sell 8,000 copies for your second book. A B-type goal would be, I'm going to sell 15,000 copies instead of 5,000. That's great. That's like triple the amount you sold with your first book. So you'll think about it. You'll say, okay, if I do these podcasts, if I get on this stage, if my email list grows here, I'll be able to sell 15,000 copies. Awesome. But it's not really what you want. What you want is a C-type goal. The letter C, type goal. Get this, a C-type goal is something you really, really want. It is beyond your wildest dreams and imagination. A C-type goal, get this, it's not logical, it's not rational, and you have no idea how to achieve it. It excites you and scares you at the same time. All right, is this stirring some excitement in you? Is this stirring some ideas in you? For me, when I was writing Metabolic Freedom, my C-type goal was for Metabolic Freedom to become a New York Times bestseller. So 6 months before the book was set to be released, I grabbed a card, and you could just grab an index card, and I would write on it, this is what I teach all my students. Here's what I wrote. I'm so happy and grateful now that my published book with Hay House, Metabolic Freedom, is a New York Times bestseller. I wrote it in present tense. I would take that card and have it in my pocket, read it every morning, read it throughout the day. I would be at a stoplight, a red light in my car, pull it out and read it before bed. But I didn't just read it and put it away. I read it and felt like it would feel like if that was already true. This is a goal that scared me, excited me. I had no idea how to become a New York Times bestselling author. I've never done it before, but I really, really wanted it. And one of the things that I did is I started to act as if I was a New York Times bestselling author. What do I mean by that? Well, a month before the book came out, I had a videographer with me at my house. I was recording content, Instagram Reels, and I said, hey, Aiden, let's record a reel celebrating hitting the New York Times list. I want you to edit this reel. I want to send it out to my team, get it scheduled for when the list comes out, because we're going to be on that list. So I recorded the video, paid him to edit it. My team had it scheduled to come out the day the list was coming out. 7 days before the list came out, I was in Nashville, actually Gatlinburg, Tennessee. I was speaking at an event, doing a keynote lecture. At this event, I'm in the health space, so at this event, there was a documentary about the carnivore diet. And they interviewed me because I talk a lot about the carnivore diet, and they asked, can I interview you? And I said, sure. So we found it had a full production, kind of like what I have here. They're miking me up. We have the director there, and the director starts off, they hit record, and the director starts off by saying this, introduce yourself. You want to know what I say? My name is Ben Azadi. I'm the New York Times bestselling author of Metabolic Freedom. This was before the list even came out. What did I do? I acted as if this is me. To do that takes some confidence. What if I didn't make the list? I would have to reach out to this company and tell them, hey, I actually made a mistake. Please don't put that in the documentary. I am not a New York Times bestselling author. I didn't let that stop me. So what happened was this. 7 days later, the list was published and we hit number 6 on the New York Times list. Look, goals are not for getting. Goals are for growing. It forced me to get outside of my comfort zone. When you set a C-type goal, it'll force you to get outside of your comfort zone. You're going to help more people. You're going to have to reach more people. You're going to have to do things that you wouldn't have done if it was just a tiny little A-type goal or a tiny little B-type goal. I encourage you to find that C-type goal. It doesn't have to be a New York Times bestselling book. That was mine. It could be a certain amount of copies. All right, going back to that example of 5,000 copies sold to tripling it as a B-type goal. What if you set a goal for your next book to sell 50,000 copies or 100,000 copies? How do you know it's the right goal? It excites you and it scares you at the same time. And it's only a C-type goal if you have no idea how to do it. If you know how to do it, it's not worth a goal. So find out what lights you up, my fellow author or aspiring author. Write it down. Write it down in present tense. Carry it with you. Read it every day. Act as if, and you will change your life. Whether you decide to become a self-published author or to go with a publisher, you're successful. Because Earl Nightingale said it best. He said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. What's an ideal? An ideal is a goal, a C-type goal you have fallen in love with. And as long as you are closing the gap between where you are right now today and that C-type goal, you are successful. So if it's becoming a self-published author that sells 20, 30, 50,000 books, as long as you're closing the gap every day, you are successful. If it's being a published author with a publisher like Hay House and becoming a New York Times bestselling author or selling 100,000 copies, whatever it is, as long as you're progressing and closing the gap, you are successful. It doesn't really matter. It's your goal. It's what you have fallen in love with. Nobody can tell you what your goal is. I hope this has inspired you. I hope to meet you in person. I hope to read your book, maybe listen to it on Audible. You see, you don't become an author by being chosen. You don't have to wait for a publisher to find you. You become an author by choosing yourself right now. See, the book that you're afraid to publish and get out into the world, I've been there. But Joseph Campbell said it best. The cave you fear to enter, it holds the treasure that you seek. I want to express my gratitude to you for watching this entire video. I want to express my gratitude to Hay House, being an incredible partner and publisher for my book. I'm excited for you to write down your C-type goal, change the world, make a difference out there, whether it's self-publishing or going with a publisher. You are going to do incredible things this year. Do not let the stinking thinking hold you back. I hope this has brought awareness to you. And my name is Ben. I'm your friend. Thanks for watching.
What an
Love it. How many
inspiring
people love
talk.
Ben?
What a fabulous, you all saw that first. You're the first group to ever see that talk. It is such an amazing talk. Wow. It's the first time I saw it too. It's really fabulous. Love
I love it, man. This is the get you guys pumped up day.
That's
Get
right.
going, get that book going, get it out there.
Yes. Yeah, you didn't know when you filled out the poll VIPs today that, Ben might have been your top talk because we hadn't had him yet, but wow, so great. Amazing. And I really hope each one of you takes that to heart, that it could be you. There's no reason why it couldn't be you. And, it might be the contest or it might be a different way. We don't know how the world is going to bring you the thing that you seek. But if you keep taking the next right step, you're going to be one step closer every day. So just really exciting.
It's amazing.
Speaking of yeah.
And a lot of people were signing up for the membership while they were watching.
Yes.
I think we have like 100 people already signed
Oh my
up.
gosh, that's great. Congratulations, everyone, on just taking that step and being brave, jumping in. You'll get so much out of it. We know that is true. And we're going to talk now about segueing into taking steps that are going to help you reach the readership that you want to reach. Do the big things with your book that you want to do. Specifically, we're talking about building your platform. I hope we can get some of that energy from Ben.
Yeah, come on, Kelly, let's go.
Well, it's just exciting for us because you and I both know that there's a lot of different ways you can do this, and it doesn't have to be hard or scary. And we find that a lot of times newer authors authors, they get a little freaked out when we talk about this. But the truth is, it's just doing something just like what Ben did just then. He just talked about what he was passionate about. I mean, he didn't really talk to us about metabolic freedom. He talked to us about Bob Proctor and making these, A-goals, B-goals, and C-goals. Like, he's talking about the things that he's passionate about. That is what it means to build a platform. It means being willing to talk publicly about the things that excite you and light you up. And then as a result, having the exact experience, that you all just had, having your readers have that experience of your wisdom and of your story, because every one of us has something to say, that there's someone and someone's out there who are ready to hear it. So let's talk about how we can get the word out about the book, because that is really what the platform's all about.
Exactly. And you heard us talking about the platform several times over the last 4 days. And we were saying that that's really what the agents and the publishers are looking for from you, is how big is your platform? How many people do you reach? And how engaged are those people with your platform? So today's Thursday. Every Thursday, we have an acquisition meeting at Hay House, and we go over like the potential new authors that we're going to try to get to come and publish their book at Hay House. On the submissions, the book proposals that we get, and from agents and that are saying, here's our new author. And today's list were all like smaller authors, like in a sense that they didn't all have giant platforms necessarily, but the platforms they did have, we have these tools we use to see how engaged the people are. They're very engaged, so one had a podcast and it was super engaged. One had Instagram.
So Reed, do you want to just define what you mean by engaged for people who don't know?
Engaged means like when you put a post that people like it or share it or that sort of thing. You don't just put a whole bunch of posts and no one reacts to the post. And so that's the main thing that does it. And that's what helps your platform grow. If people read it, share it, tell their friends, then they show it to more people, and then it goes from there. But a lot of the books today were unique ideas. Like one of them was about starting hobbies. Like instead of asking people what, like this lady decided she's from now on, every new person she meets, she's not going to ask them what they did or anything like that. She's going to ask them what's their hobby and try to do that hobby that day herself or find some way to do it. And then we had an author who's helping people with their businesses and running a business and that sort of thing. But she didn't have like a giant platform of people like Ben Azadi. Now he has 1 million people on YouTube.
Wow.
So like you heard about his self-published books, obviously didn't have that million people when he did those books initially, but those books helped him get the people on YouTube. Him doing the videos started helping him get 1 million people on YouTube. But these people that I'm talking about here, they don't have 1 million people on YouTube. They have like 20,000, 50,000, which is still a lot to many of you, but for a lot of the authors we see at Hay House, that's
not that many.
Tiny amount.
Yeah.
And but they have a unique idea. And another one was for eliminating clutter for moms, like how to,
I know her. She's a friend of mine from my mastermind. I know
is
her.
it?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So we got her book, and we were talking about that too. And so each of these things are they don't have giant platforms, but they have unique ideas. So that's what Kelly was talking about the whole time. You have to have like a unique idea, something that's going to relate to people. It's not just the same thing over and over and over. And even I said to all our editors, thank you. Like they might not have the biggest platforms, but at least it was something different to talk about. And so like, and the amount of money you get as an advance goes with the platform. So these advances would be smaller than someone like Ben, who has 1 million people on his YouTube, but still they can break out. Like you heard the stories like Mother Hunger. She is just like you guys. Like I forgot to mention this, but in the Hay House Writers community, you do get a $10,000 advance when we
If you
pick your
win the
book.
contest, yeah.
Yep. And in Authorpreneur, you get a $20,000 advance. And the reason the difference is usually the Authorpreneur people have a little bit bigger platform. But in both of those cases, we're not relying on the platform. We're relying on you learning from Kelly and I what to do. So you're ahead of most of the authors anyway, because we're busy teaching all these authors we sign at Hay House what to do. Like they don't know. They know less than you guys know by the time you
funny, it's
finish a
true.
year in the memberships. You know more than most authors that have books out there.
Well, and also something that I love is that you put new authors that come to Hay House into the Authorpreneur membership.
Yeah.
That's how much you trust what we're teaching there. You want the authors you've already acquired to understand the process of building the platform and getting the word out that we put together in that membership.
Exactly. And all the things we teach them, and we teach you in both of the memberships about the platform. But I just wanted, like, we're going to tell you now a little bit more about the platform, but really nowadays, a lot of it's around social media, but it can be that you're in newspapers or you do speeches like one of the people today that we talked with. The business lady, she goes around and does speeches all the time, like 100 people here, 100 people there, 100 people here. And we know when she goes and does those speeches, she'll sell 50 books, 50 books, 50 books, and it all adds up. Like business authors, one of the greatest platforms that all the business publishers look for is speaking, because that's one group of people that have the opportunity. A lot of businesses bring people in to speak. A lot of businesses hire speakers to help their employees do better at certain areas, certain things. So it's something that you're looking at. It doesn't just have to be social media. And the other thing to know about building your platform is that you should pick one thing that you love the most. Like if you love doing videos, like Kelly right here loves to do videos, and so her favorite platform is her YouTube channel. Now she also collects people's emails and sends a newsletter each week. But a lot of that is oriented around video too, right? Like you tell them, go watch my YouTube video and that sort of thing. Some people love Instagram, like they're on there all the time anyway. They're posting reels, they're doing comments, they're doing other things. Some people love Facebook. Some people love LinkedIn. Like we have authors that their biggest platform by far is LinkedIn. Some people are big on TikTok, and that's where they get their audience and engagement. Some people do TikTok and Instagram because they reuse the videos on Reels and TikTok. Some people do YouTube and TikTok, and they take their longer videos and make them for TikTok and all that sort of thing. Like what I'm trying to say is it's unique to everybody. Some people love just writing their newsletter on Substack, and that's their audience that they have. And like we have a new fiction author that has a big thing there, and we showed her picture, the Beta Bazzotti lady that we showed her cover. Like she's
So
big
beautiful.
on there. Like that's where she interacts with the people that so everyone has a different place they go. Like we used to, when we did this, we would go through and teach you how to do it, but it changes so much, like you really have to get in there and do and relate to people, follow people. It's no different than reading people's books in your category. Look at their social media of the people in your category. Notice when you post something and it gets shared or it gets likes or that sort of thing, and give them more of that, like that's one of the things that I'm constantly saying to all our social media people here at Hay House. Like when you get something that everyone loves, give them more of it. Like, so you don't give them what you think's great, give them what they think's great.
Definitely. One thing that I want to say about it is that it's not so much about quantity as it is about consistency. So as you said, Reed, some people like YouTube, other people like TikTok, other people like LinkedIn. It's not about doing it all. You do not have to do it all. So you can let go of that overwhelm and instead just get started. Just say, I'm going to write something every week. It could be a post on Instagram. It could be a newsletter. I mean, I think about you, Reed, busiest man I know. You write a newsletter every single week. It's like clockwork, it comes out. So you just put it into your schedule like any other writing time, and you hold it sacred, and you just get some little thing out there. And then as time goes by, you'll be developing a body of work just in your posts or your newsletters that then will inform you and you can use in other places later. Like you might take your newsletters and break them up and put a little bit on Instagram or a little bit on Facebook, but you don't have to do that right away. It's about choosing one thing to get started on and then doing it consistently. Honestly, everyone I know who does that, it really becomes an easy thing and something that they enjoy. The hardest part is thinking about all the reasons why you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Just sit there spinning about like, oh gosh, no, just do it. Just do it once a week and see what happens.
And every week.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
every
key
week,
thing.
yeah.
So like I've done it every week for like 10 years or 15 years. I don't even know how many years.
Yeah, a long
Then
time now.
sometimes like if I'm going to be gone or on vacation, then we reuse one from a prior year. But
Yep.
obviously you have 15 years worth of them. That's like a lot of 600 or more that you have sitting there.
Exactly.
And you can
Yes.
have it, you can reuse them and do that. But the majority of the time, I write a new one every single week. And believe me, plenty of weeks I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's like I have to turn it in by Wednesday and I have someone read it over and edit it, and I'm sitting here at 4:30
Yeah.
on Wednesday going, oh my God. The biggest thing is getting the inspiration each week. Like when you
Yeah.
have inspiration, it's a piece of cake. And it's
That's
just
right.
like all of you writing your books. But if you sit there and do it, you get the inspiration. Like Kelly said,
Yep.
like even if you just put yourself in the right position to
Mhm.
do it, you're going to do it. And that's it. You're never going to do it if you don't start or you don't try.
That's
And
right.
like all of this, like I always said, like I never would believe I'd do speeches. I never believed I would be writing newsletters, any of this stuff. Like you just don't know what
Right.
you're going to do and what's going to relate to people. And thank you for everyone in the comments saying you like the newsletter, because that's one of the things I did when I did the newsletter is I don't have any comments. So like it wouldn't discourage me from like, oh my, like I was saying, like I was sensitive to it, so I didn't want people to say they love it or hate it. I just send it out.
Yep, that's amazing. And that's the thing. It's like really just saying, I'm going to be myself. I'm going to do it publicly, and I'm not going to worry about how people react to it.
Yeah.
Somehow that combination results in magic happening and us being able to continue doing the thing week after week. And I'll say, as somebody who loves writing, I absolutely love writing my newsletter every week. It is something that I really come to enjoy. Sometimes I do it at the last minute. Do not get me wrong, but I love doing it. And then I use that newsletter as a jumping off point for posting elsewhere, like on Instagram and doing reels, etc. My YouTube channel is really educational. It's very much about talking about the things that I know deeply. And I love talking about those things. You can tell I love talking, Reed and I both love talking about books and publishing. And so finding the things that really light you up and then being the person who is a stand for those things in public. That's all it is, to be getting the word out about your book. Because somebody said, well, how do you publish, or how do you get the words out about your book before your book is out? Well, it's because you're starting to talk about the topics that are going to be in your book. You're going to be talking about the process of writing, let's say, if you're writing a memoir or fiction, because you're not necessarily, talking about like hard topics when you're writing those types of books. If you're writing nonfiction, you can start putting your wisdom out there. I mean, I think about Ben Azadi. Look at his YouTube channel. He's talking about metabolic health. And he's got all different angles and different, videos that will appeal to different audiences, but then it brings people closer to him, and he ends up having them subscribe to his YouTube channel. And then once the book is ready to come out, he can let everybody know, in the weeks leading up to it, hey, would love it if you'd pre-order, because he's got their attention. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to show your passion publicly so people you've got their attention, you've got them listening to you, and you have a way to talk about your book once it does come out. So there's no reason that you have to wait until your book comes out to start talking about it. You're talking about the topics or even the process of writing it today. And that's the thing that people are going to respond to.
Yep, and like we were saying, you can build it anywhere. You don't have to do email. You don't have to do social media. We highly recommend you do email because
Yeah.
one of the things about social media is when you post it, even if you have a lot of followers, it might not go to them all. Or if,
Yep.
you never know when the algorithm's going to change and they're going to decide something different. So we highly recommend you say, give something away free to them on your in your social media. Say, go here, get something free, give them me your
Yep.
email and I'll give you something free. If you go to Kelly's website, you'll get that.
Yep.
All the authors that you've seen on here have it on their website. And it's a very important way because that email is worth a lot. Even today, like a lot of people say, "Oh, I never look at email." You'd be surprised how many people look once they sign up for something they want.
That's
And
right.
then also what the other thing people are doing is they're getting people's phone numbers so you can text to people, but it's more expensive to send the text than the email, so you have to be careful about that as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So
As time goes by, like you'll start to learn about things or you'll start paying attention. I mean, this is kind of what happens. I think you might not really be paying that much attention to the strategies that people are using to engage you or like explain who they are. Now that you're here and you're learning about this, start paying attention, especially to the authors who you want your book sitting next to on the bookshelf. Find out what they are up to. Are they writing a Substack? Are they doing a YouTube channel? Because that will just give you some ideas about where the audience for this topic is living and getting their information. Because, for example, if you have, let's say you're writing something about intermittent fasting, right? And you follow Benazati and Mindy Pels. Well, go look and see where they are. They're on YouTube, they're doing Instagram. And then you can be like, okay, I think I'm going to do something similar to that, my version of it, right? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are plenty of people out there who've trailblazed ahead of you. You can just go check out what they're doing and then do your version of that. And that's a nice way to not feel like you're, having to just do something you don't know if it's going to be worth doing because you can see it's actually working for these other people. And again, this is all back to what like day one, when I was saying you need to read the books that your book is going to be in competition with because you need to know what you're up against, but also you can see these authors as mentors. I mean, even hearing Benazati talk about how much he loved Bob Proctor and Wayne Dyer, and they were his mentors, and look at where he is today. So you need to pick mentors who are in the same category you want to be in, and then follow their lead and do the things that they're doing and see how it works for you. Obviously, using your own content and your own heart and your own voice.
exactly. Like my whole inspiration for doing my newsletter, honestly, was Cheryl Richardson. So
There
she's
you
been
go.
doing hers forever. And, and then I love the style that she did it in and basically do mine in a similar kind of style. So it's like that. Everyone has their own thing. And then another way that you can help build your platform that we haven't really mentioned is being a guest on a podcast. You don't have to have your own podcast. You can just be a guest on someone else's podcast. And if you do a good job, they're going to want to come to your website. They're going to want to come to your social media. They're going to want to connect you with you in some way or whatever like that. And there's literally hundreds of thousands of podcasts out there. And you don't have to always start on the Mel Robbins podcast. You can
Right.
start on the lower ones that
Yeah.
don't have so many people, but that you get practice. Like the very first time you're on a podcast, you might not do as good as the 10th time you're on a podcast. It's just like giving speeches. The first speech might not be your best speech, but it's going to be your best you can do at that time. And after you give 100 of them, you're going to probably be more relaxed and better and understand what the audience wants and that sort of thing. And it's the same with podcasts. Like it takes time to get good at them. It takes time to come across like it's easy for you, even though you put a lot of effort in it and that sort of thing. So just
And
know.
I think it's really important to underscore what you said. You don't have to start your own. You can
Yes.
go guest podcasts, start there. People are always looking for podcast guests, especially people who have something great to say. So figure out what your message is and then pitch yourself to those podcasts. Find the podcasts that are in your same category. go to the website for the podcast. There's usually a place where you can nominate yourself. So you don't have to do the big leap and be like, okay, I'm starting a podcast. No, just start talking publicly about yourself and your book and see what happens.
Exactly. So it's all just related to, and the more fun you have with it all, the better you're going to get with it. That's the key thing. So I know some of you going, oh my God, I hate the idea of doing it. But if you can find one thing that you like doing and do it, and all the podcasts, like there's ways you can see who's running it. They usually have a contact info. You can send them an email and just say, I love your podcast because of this. I think I'd be a good guest for those that have guests. And you'd be surprised how many people want you, because sure, like the Mel Robbins podcast, she can get anyone she wants, but the smaller ones are looking for guests,
That's right.
They're looking for people to put on. They're looking for people that are interesting. And it also gives you something else when you're doing your book proposal to say, look, I've been on these podcasts and I've done this and I've done that. So it's good for you guys to really think about the different ways that you can get out there. And there's many, many more than the ones we just mentioned, because there's an unlimited amount of ways that you can get. Like I know Wayne Dyer, he used to do a radio interview every single solitary day. Wow. So like now he's been passed away for 10 years. So 10 years ago, podcasts weren't big, Right. Everyone did radio interviews, but literally for 40 years, he did a radio interview pretty much every single solitary day. And that's the reason why he's Wayne Dyer, because everyone started to get to hear him and know him and buy his books and all that sort of thing. You look at Mel Robbins right now, I'm going to tell you a lot about kind of how she got started in a minute, but that's the same kind of way she looks at it. She's on someone else's thing, doing something different all the time to get the word out. And that's what a lot of these people do that become household names, is they're putting a lot of effort in that you don't realize.
That's
They're
right.
not just sitting at home and all of a sudden all this just happens for them.
Yeah. And I feel like back when Hay House was doing more events, we heard from people saying, well, I just want you to put me up on stage and then my book is going to take off. And that even then it wasn't the case. And really it's about just committing and deciding, am I willing to be seen? Am I willing to put the time in? Is this the dream that I really have? Because it might be that you made it through this week and you've realized, like, I don't really want to be public. I don't want to be a public figure. Okay, well then you're writing the book for a different reason. I still want you to write the book. Because again, your book has a soul to it, but you can decide, I'm not going to be going for these huge audiences and these huge crowds. One of my mentors says that let's say you sell 100 books. That doesn't sound like much if you're, trying to pitch yourself to Hay House, but imagine what it would be like to have 100 people over for a dinner party. That is a lot of people when you really think about it. A lot of people whose lives could change, and you don't necessarily have to go through everything we just went through to reach 100 people. So it's still worth doing, no matter whether you want to build the platform or not, but we're here to help you and guide you. And again, in the memberships, we go into this in great detail, all the different things that we suggest you do on the journey toward getting your book in the world, if that is what you want.
Yeah, and I think what I'm going to do right now is play our membership video now, and then as soon as that's done, I'm going to tell you all about Mel Robbins and what she did for her success.
Great.
Hello, future author. We're so glad you're working toward your dream of writing and publishing a book. And we're thrilled that you might join one of Hay House's memberships to support you on this exciting journey. Reed Tracy and Kelly Notaras are your expert guides. With over 50 years of combined publishing experience, they've helped thousands of aspiring authors write, publish, and market their life-changing books. The insight, insider knowledge, and depth of knowledge they bring to our memberships are unmatched. Now, with 2 different membership programs, you may be wondering which one is right for you. The Hay House Writers Community is a powerhouse group for people who love to write. If you have a passion for words, a story that could inspire others, or a message you feel compelled to share, but you need guidance, structure, and support, this is your home. It's also the best fit for fiction writers who want to refine their storytelling craft. develop unforgettable characters, and shape creative ideas into a publishable manuscript. The Authorpreneur membership, on the other hand, is for people who see a book as a way to grow their business or expand their influence. If you're a coach, therapist, or entrepreneur who wants to become known as an expert in your field, Authorpreneur is the perfect fit. Both memberships walk you step by step from your first idea all the way through publishing and promotion, so you'll find exactly the help you need, no matter where you are in your journey. With our memberships, we've demystified the writing and publishing process so that you can finally get your book out into the world and save yourself the time, money, and frustration that often come with navigating it alone.
I had been wanting to write a book for ages. I didn't know where to begin.
I joined first Writers Community and then Authorpreneur, not only to have access to Reed and Kelly's incredible wisdom, shortcuts, and tips, but also to have a community.
I wish I had come across them earlier because it has been so helpful to have guidance for building a platform, not just for any old business, but for specifically writing a book.
It is by far the best program I have ever invested my time and money into.
I wanted to reach that finish line, and I found the people that could help me get there. The team, the family.
Since coming out as a published author, I mean, my life has changed in so many ways. Gosh, it's just so nice to wake up every day and know that you're helping spread a little bit more love in the world.
Rolling.
As a member, you'll join live monthly Q&A calls where Reed and Kelly answer your unique questions. Whether you need help with your title, feedback on your proposal, or direction on publishing options or looking for an agent, they'll guide you every step of the way. And now, we're taking things even further with AI Essentials for Authors. Discover how to use AI to write smarter, save time, and spark fresh ideas with a custom AI tool designed to help you craft the perfect hook. You'll also enjoy an exclusive session with best-selling author Colette Baron Reed, where she shares how she's brought AI into her own creative process. As the world of AI keeps evolving, you'll stay on the cutting edge with regularly updated tech training that gives you the latest tools and guidance to support your writing and creativity. This is just one of the many ways our memberships help you stay ahead in today's publishing world. One of the most exciting parts of being a member is the Hay House Book Proposal Contest, your opportunity to submit your book idea for possible publication by Hay House. As a Writers Community member, you'll have 2 chances each year to enter our exclusive writing contests. The grand prize winner earns a $10,000 book advance and a publishing contract with Hay House, and we often choose more than 2 winners to publish each year. 2 runners-up also win Balboa Press publishing packages and direct feedback from our editorial team to help them grow as authors. Authorpreneur members also get the opportunity to enter 2 contests annually, but the Authorpreneur Grand Prize winner receives a $20,000 book advance and a publishing contract with Hay House. And now every in-contest submission includes personalized feedback from our Hay House editorial team, the most requested feature from our members. You'll receive expert guidance to strengthen your proposal and increase your chances of being published. If you're ready to commit to becoming a published author, and if you want a foot in the door to becoming a Hay House author, join the Hay House Writers Community or the Authorpreneur membership today. We can't wait to see your book come to life.
Love it. I love watching
so
that.
It's like, I'm excited.
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's so good. That's it. That was a new video. So we just got, that was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you to Curtis.
Crushed it on that
Curtis
one.
crushed
Good
it on the
job.
video. Thanks, Curtis. Yeah, that was amazing. So great. Hopefully that gives you everything in those videos is 100% true. That is exactly what you get in the memberships. And we really hope that those of you for whom it is a right next step, decide to take that step. And just a reminder, if you're going to join Writers Community, today is the day to do it, because you will get that feedback if you sign up today.
Yep, you'll definitely want to do that. So I promised to tell you a little bit about the story of Mel Robbins, and she wrote this book, Let Them. I'll just start it off like, so she started off writing her book, and it was called The 5 Second Rule. And it's very interesting. I recently was listening to her do an interview on a podcast, and she was talking about the 5 second rule and like how she came about to write that. And in reality, she self-published it. It was like a hybrid self-publisher, but she had to pay for everything. And she didn't know what she was doing. She needed to come to the writers boot camp for sure. She was, struggling in her life with, she always tells the story that she was in debt significantly, like $800,000, I think, in debt. And she was trying to figure out ways to like get out of debt. She became a speaker. She did a bunch of things, and she decided that she was going to write a book. And the book that she ended up writing was the 5 second rule. And she got this book, ready to go. She had this big dream of having a New York Times bestseller, just like Benazotti. Only she had no idea what to do to have a New York Times bestseller. And she started, she just decided she wanted to do it. And she was trying everything she could and getting, hearing from one person, you should do this, and another person, you should do that, and going about it and getting the word out. And so the book comes out, and she's like doing everything she can to get all these books sold. And she goes on to Amazon, and they're out of books. Like they have no more books left. And she's like devastated because her only goal is to become a New York Times bestselling author. And she thought the way to do that was to sell as many books as she can in the first week on Amazon, but she couldn't, but there were no books left. And so she was like, oh my God, like I've been working my whole life to get this book, and this is my chance. And people are wanting to buy it, but there's none there. And hey, you guys, just forget about the PowerPoint. It's driving me crazy. You guys putting that thing up and down and everywhere. And and get that book out there. But then a little bit, like a week or two later, she didn't make the New York Times bestseller list, but she got a call from Audible, and they said, oh my God, like what's going on? This is like, this audio book is selling like unbelievable. Like so many people are getting the audio book because they're coming to Amazon to buy the book, but there's no books. And their publisher didn't know that they could have made it so that they had the books, but they didn't know either what they're doing. And so she had ebooks and audios, and everyone started buying her audio. And then come to find out, she ended up having like the most downloaded audio of any self-published book ever. And so like the whole thing that she thought was a complete disaster because she didn't make the New York Times ends up making her a whole new career of doing these audios. And then they went on, they paid her so much money to do an original audio, like $1 million or something like that. And it all came from this self-published book that ran out on Amazon.
I was about to say it came from her not having had the books. Like a
Exactly.
huge failure. Your only job as a publisher is to make sure that the books are there, and they completely failed. And then look at what happened. So just a reminder, everybody, you never know the end of the story.
Exactly. And then so that she does that, then she decides to publish her second book, and she actually got a book deal with someone in the United States to publish the second book. And her working with the editors and her changing her mind of what she had wanted to do and all that, they ended up canceling her contract. And then Hay House signed her up, and we said, look, we can help you get the book done. and then we ended up doing the book with her, The High Five Habits, which did become a New York Times bestseller, and it sold well and it got out there, and she was thrilled with the sales. And then she came along and came up with this new idea, which was the let them theory, which is right here. And it just this week we just got the advance notice. It will be have been number one on the New York Times bestseller list for 52 weeks.
Oh,
Like not just on the New York Times bestseller list,
Number
but
one.
number one for 52 weeks. And
Right.
on the New York Times for 57 weeks or 56 weeks, one of those. And it sold 8 million copies between audio and book just in the United States alone. And then all over the world, it's been the number one book in Australia and the top 10 in the UK, top 10 in South Africa, top 10 in India, and then it's come out in a bunch of other countries around the world. But it all like, and all of you that have listened to Mel and her podcasts and her interviews, she tells all these kind of stories. So I'm just kind of summarizing some of it here. But she went through a lot of struggles to get there. Like it wasn't like I come up with an idea, write a book, and everything's great. Like it goes up and down, up and down. And finally, she got to the one that resonates with everyone. Now, are you going to get a book that sells as much as the Let Them Theory? Probably not. Like it took me 38 years to get it. So, but it's crazy, like just what she went through to get there to this place, and it's changing everyone's lives. And then what the book did for her is it made her have a top 5 podcast, in the United States. She was in the world really, but in the United States, she was nominated for a Golden Globe. But it all didn't just happen by accident. Like she literally, like I said with Wayne Dyer, he does like an interview every day. She does like a podcast every day. She does TV interviews. And she doesn't just do one, but she like does research before she goes on the podcast so that she relates to their audience and she adjusts her message to each audience that she goes to. It's like unbelievable just watching her do it. Like it's so crazy, like all that she does and where she does it and the effort she puts and every week we text her we have this text, a group text that we send out that she makes the New York Times again, and she's number one, and she's grateful every week, like still to this day. That's another thing is like all the gratitude she has to everyone who buys her book, and the commitment she has to helping them change their life is amazing. Like it really is inspirational for me, even just to see someone who's like at the very, very top, still worrying about everyone, like, and so grateful that she's still there, like it can all go away tomorrow. She's not on the New York Times anymore. And not that the New York Times to me really makes that big a difference, but it makes you feel good as an author, let's say.
And if you're number one 52 weeks, that says a lot. I mean, I should say, like, you said 8 million copies. I don't know if people really understand how rare that is. Like that is rare, even for huge bestsellers. 8 million copies goes like to a different stratosphere, honestly. So it's just pretty amazing. I'm just so happy for her. I'm happy for Hay House. It's just a win-win all around.
Yeah, but it's great, like just all that's possible with these books, what they can do. You don't have to be as big as Mel, but it's just the story right now is her, right? Like that's like you can't get any bigger, like, and it's just crazy, And like someone said, I love the interview Oprah did with Mel. So before her book came out, the first interview that was released the week before her book came out was an interview with her and Oprah that was set up by another Hay House author named Jamie Kern Lima. She did a book called Worthy. And that was the very first time that Mel and Oprah ever met each other. And obviously Mel knew who Oprah was, but Oprah didn't know who Mel was. But they became good buddies, and like it's just crazy. Like what comes together. Like you never know like how it's going to work out or what it's going to be.
That's it. I mean, I feel like it's just about taking the next right step. You know, I've said this before. I saw Mel speak at the the TEDx San Francisco in 2010, and she had no book. She had nothing. But she was on fire. And I remember thinking, you know, because when you're an editor, you're always tracking for like natural talent. I was like, that woman is going to be big. And sure enough, but it took years. It wasn't the next day that it happened. So it's 15 years because it happened in 2025 that this book really took off. So just understand that for whatever reason, life is pulling you towards something. You don't know where you're going to end. You don't know how long it's going to take. All of that is okay because you can trust life. You can trust the pull that you have to write this book. And I believe that if you have it, you have to at least take the next step and see what happens.
Exactly. And that's the big goal that we want is no matter what, if you join the membership, you don't join the membership, we want you to keep writing your books. Like please keep going. Hopefully these 4 days, like for all the general people, your time is about up. You've spent 8 hours with me and Kelly. Thank you all so much for being here. And hopefully we taught you about the book writing and motivated you enough to keep going, finish the book. I mean, write the book, even if you don't publish the book, you will.
Your life will change.
It will change. But if you do publish it, holding it in your hand is the huge thing. Every single solitary author ever will tell you it's a way bigger deal than you ever thought.
Right.
Like it's equal to like climbing Mount Everest or something like that.
Feels like
it really shows that you can do something that you might have never, ever, ever thought you could do. And it'll have a big impact on the rest of your life too. Just like getting that big thing done shows you can do anything. And it's not, and a lot of people want to write books. Kelly started the whole thing by saying 85% of people want to publish a book according to the New York Times, but about 1% of those people do it.
Yes.
You know, so you're part of the 1% if you get it done and hold it in your hand. And I can tell you, like, we've helped just through Balboa alone publish 15,000 people's books.
Unbelievable.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg of the people that have published their books watching these workshops. So
right, definitely.
Good luck to all of you.
Those of you here in VIP, stick around. We're not done with you yet, but good luck to all of you in the general.
Go to the expert booth and be sure to go and talk to Anna and Krista about the membership for all you general people. Please go over there, find out about it, because today's the day you want to sign up for Writers Community.
That's right.
All right, everybody.
All right. Yay. Well, this is exciting.